What's up, everybody? This is Cryptic Heartland Podcast, episode number 135. I am one of your hosts. I'm Leo Fernandez. The man taking a drink right now on your screen is Mr. Jason Roberts. Want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Hopefully everybody can hear us without echoes. Okay. Nah, but thank you guys for joining us this evening on this holiday weekend. Hopefully everybody had fun with their family and friends, and everybody's feeling safe and feeling healthy and enjoying life. So, what's going on, sir?
Not much. Didn't do much today except seeing Corey off while she headed off to work. Yeah, up in Colby and Dodge. So, she'll be back out in Dodge in our home away from home area.
Exactly.
Here for the week, but did a little hiking over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Friday night, or not Friday night, but Friday. Well, it was kind of into the evening. Kind of mid-afternoon and all that, but we went out to an area that Brendan and I had casted a print a few years ago, so we wanted to, I wanted to go out there and kind of search around, just kind of do a little survey over the whole area. Surprised about how wet the land was that we were marching around in out there. It was pretty wet, so ended up going over to where the sightings of Sasquatch was by construction workers back, like I said, several years ago.
Right.
But it was interesting. Saw some tree formations and stuff like that researchers say to keep an eye out for that I never noticed before when I was out there a few years ago, but this time it was there, and it was kind of interesting. But it was just nice getting back out there in the field, and plan to be doing that a lot more lately. So definitely. I enjoy my outdoors and the hiking in the woods and stuff. So
yeah, I agree, man. I need to get out there too one of these days.
Nope.
I was talking to my father-in-law earlier today. He actually brought it up. He's like, hey man, I've been spending some time watching some shows. And he said he spent Friday night watching all these Bigfoot shows and stuff.
Absolutely. It's interesting.
He's like, I've heard the stories about Bigfoot, all this stuff, the creature itself. He goes, the thing that caught me off guard was their connection to aliens. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
'Cause, we've had our fair share of discussions. Do they interact with aliens? Are they part of an interdimensional being? Are they just simple primates? All that stuff,
Right.
We don't know. I mean, because he brought up things like, about the bodies, being, whatever, not being found and whatnot, and just. He said it was some. I need to find out. He said it was on I want to say he said the History Channel. I'll have to figure it out. You can definitely show and watch it because it intrigued me. He said there was this guy who purposely went looking for the creature, and he interacted with some woman who, I don't know if she's like a shaman or some kind of Indian connection or whatever it was.
Right.
But they said if you want to see Bigfoot, go to her. She'll help you see him, basically, whatever. And they sat down by a campfire, was talking some stories, I guess, and whatnot, and basically, I didn't mean to hijack your story. Sorry, I apologize.
No, you're fine. I'm interested now.
It just popped in my head, and I need more details. But what he told me was the guy, was interacting, and he went there and sat down, and she was telling him some stories, he's like, oh yeah, if you see him, they'll have, this is kind of intriguing to me, their eyes, they light up red, they glow red, they're kind of yellow, kind of a green. And think about all the stuff we've seen in Tahlequah with the lights and stuff, and were they the fairies, the orbs, or were we seeing something else?
What if they're all connected in they're part of Earth?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, if you can imagine, Sasquatch always, lurking in the sides and the darkness and just watching us all the time. Right. Probably wondering, what the F are you doing all the time?
Who are these upright people ruining Mother Earth?
Yeah, right. I mean, and we are,
I'm not that person. I'm not a hippie or anything.
Kind of like...
No offense to hippies.
But kind of like, being where Brendan and I were a few years ago and where I was on Friday...
Right.
It was construction on the highway that actually saw them along the river.
Recently?
No.
Oh, in the past.
In the past.
Okay, I got you. I was like, again?
Yeah, no.
I mean, let's face it, Kansas is always under construction on the highway. So
very true.
I
very
don't
true.
know which, from my own.
No, but it was that many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Not many. I'd say probably 2005-ish, if not more, recent. But they were seeing them down by the river. And hiking down there on Friday, went under the highway.
Oh, nice.
And went over to where, they would have seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned to the person I was with, and I was like, "Look, I mean, can't you imagine anybody could be over there across the river,
Right.
over in those woods?
Yep.
Who would ever see him
Exactly.
driving by? How many people saw us crossing under and being under there
Sure.
and throwing rocks and stuff like that? You know,
Right.
just being, you know." I mean, we were both short, so we probably look like kids under there, you know. But we both had backpacks on and stuff. But when I drive over there, I'm looking off over there. I don't look down below.
Yeah. I always
Nothing.
look at the river. I know which area you're talking about, and
Yeah.
I know just because from past experiences or past shows that have been here and whatnot, and just different things in that area. Plus I know the theory behind Bigfoot. I mean, they like to follow rivers. They like,
Possibly.
for food sources, water,
I'm
and
based.
farmland. But
Yeah.
I'm always looking when I'm driving, especially on the highway, and looking around in those areas particularly, in that
Yeah.
area almost. So I know what you're saying.
I mean, even if they are mystical and they can like go through portals and whatever,
Sure.
if they're living creatures, they still have to like eat off the land and everything. So they have to like find their sources.
Mm-hmm.
So following a water pattern on the land, through rivers or lakes and
Mhm.
everywhere else makes sense to me.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's like their highways, kind of. I mean, not
Yeah.
necessarily though. They can't just go off in the beaten path and walk across somebody's
Right.
farmland, or because not all farmlands have the water sources that, when they're seen spotted, they're crossing highways, just different, county roads and whatnot. It's
Right.
not your usual. Hell, I saw by the river. Not necessarily.
they were just standing there
Yeah.
looking at me. No.
Fishing. One of our guests, viewers, wants to know where is this? So.
Out in western Kansas. I tend not to, kind of like what Brendan, who is founder of Bigfoot in Kansas, we tend not to like pinpoint the
Sure, not
actual
the exact location.
the exact location, just because we don't want every single person out there tromping around looking and doing stuff.
Well,
you
and
know?
they don't want them to ruin any kind of evidence that's out there. Maybe
Sure.
they don't know what they're looking for. And I'm not saying this where that experience, but we have some experience.
And
You don't want to ruin possible
yeah,
evidence.
and I didn't get a chance to do a whole lot. We got out there too late
Right.
in the day due to my work. Damn it. So I got out there a little later than I was hoping for. Did see some structures in the trees that kind of like, I don't know, stuff that
Right.
Brendan to other researchers over the years have said to like kind of keep an eye out for
Like
the
signs
way.
and symbols, possibly.
Yeah, there's some like bends in the trees and
Right.
stuff like that just didn't make sense. And even beyond it, further into the woods, you
Yeah.
could see it. And I was like nudging the person next to me. I was like, okay, so look straight back there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that even look normal to you
Right.
back there? And it's just dense woods.
Sure.
There's no houses around it, unless hunters or anybody else. But this was not a hunting area.
Yeah.
This is
Right,
all.
right.
This was all just
I know
a.
exactly what you're saying.
This is an area that is just for people, because not far from there is a fishing area.
Right. Yep.
So of course you're not going to have hunters out there shooting in directions that where fishermen are going to be
Sure.
and campers.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but there's some weird structures back there that just didn't make sense that I never noticed before the last time I was there. So
Gotcha. Yeah, Rhea, this is just a day trip Jason took on Friday. Yeah, it was in Kansas, and
yeah,
we've hunted in Kansas and
Western Kansas is where it
Oklahoma
was.
and areas like that for illustrious creature, but
Yeah.
we've had success in both areas actually, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I mean Oklahoma because that's the highest rate of. I mean, as far as reported
Oh,
cases, it seems
near
like.
us,
There's
yes,
some in Kansas,
Oklahoma.
too, yeah, yep. Yeah, Kansas is getting its fair share. Kansas is so sporadic. I don't know why. If it's because you have large gaps of when they were reported last to the next reporting. It's like years. It seems like not as common as Oklahoma for some reason.
Oklahoma, man, they have some sightings of even a creature that's 13 to 15 foot high with like feet this big.
Right.
I mean, to me that I want to see it to believe it.
Yeah, definitely.
Before I go, oh yeah, sure, I believe that. No,
Yeah. Well,
It-
but sorry.
it's just unbelievable to think that big of a creature. But who knows?
Yeah, and go back to the symbols you're talking about. When we had our encounter, our first ever encounter, our true first encounter.
Yeah.
We always say the famous word, Tahlequah, whatever.
Nope,
Story
don't
that
say
never
it.
ends.
Don't say it.
Because it always intertwines in our lives daily, even to this day, and our surroundings. But one thing I noticed when we were out there, and this is the first night we were there, and it's just Brandon and I out there kind of looking around, snooping around the woods by ourselves, and we saw the very first footprint we saw.
Yeah.
That he captured on, his his camera. We walked around. That's when we started going off into I don't know what caught our eye. Something we looked off just behind us for some reason. Looked over in the distance. We noticed maybe some markings. I think.
Yeah.
I think most people call them rubs because I know like bears do this. And I was talking to my father-in-law about this today. He was talking about, I guess, the male bucks, the deers do this too.
Right.
They rub their horns on it, whatever, and unfortunately, their butts on it, whatever, because it gives off an odor, a scent. It's a way to mark things, I guess, apparently, which I didn't know that. I thought the birds didn't scratch their backs.
Right.
Well, when we went to the one in Tahlequah, Brendan and I noticed these big, high markings way up in the trees.
Yeah.
He tried to reach for it, and Brendan, like you said, we talk about him. He's a good reference point. He's 6'4", maybe 6'6", somewhere between there. I don't know
Yeah.
his actual height.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even reach him, obviously, with his hands, stepping up on his tippy toes, trying to reach clear up in the air. So
Yeah.
we started looking that way. We noticed those, and then we looked down this. It looked like a path that wasn't a path that like the obvious path we were on in Tahlequah is one off the beaten path, we'll say, and you could see from kind of like for miles and just kind of how it different little telltale things, whatever. So we started walking our way through the thicket and brush to go that way. Well, I'm looking up and like you said about these symbols, I'm looking up in the trees. We see these big like branches, and first thing that pops in my mind is Blair Witch. Because they look identical to those, where these things are hanging in the trees. They look like symbols or some kind of, I don't know what they were, sigils or something. I don't know what they were, but I was like, that looks freaking weird. That's not human made. That's not nature made. That's something put these there, and why? I never understood that. And then I started watching a show years later, and I hate to even mention it because it's entertainment factors only. Mountain Monsters.
Oh.
With the guys that go out there and they search for everything in Western Kentucky and all that.
Are they searching or just running around stupid with guns in their hands?
To blow that bubble up, I'm pretty sure from what I understood, they film in one area and they say, we're in Kentucky, we're in North Carolina. Anyways, whatever. I'm not there. I don't know. I like the stories.
Maybe they're just not educated enough that the film crew just puts them in the same spot every day.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just the film. I mean, it's pretty interesting. But
it is.
The one thing, and I told you this before years ago, there's one episode called Woman in the Woods. And
yes.
They go for Bigfoot, they go for women. I mean, the whole point of this is it's something we experienced down in Tahlequah, and it blew my mind. Like, I was like freaking out. Not freaking out, just like, is this real life? Am I really seeing this on TV? Because some of the stuff they were looking for, now granted it was more dramatized and over dramatized and whatnot, but they were seeing the same stuff, the symbols in the woods.
Right.
They were hearing the woman, and I have recordings of the woman by myself. Remember I told you about where I went out on my own trek the next day, and there's some woman talking to me that was not there. We had 2 girls with us on that trip, and they were both sleeping in their tents, probably 150 yards off.
Right.
And there's a certain point in the forest, and this is nothing like groundbreaking, that you go so far, and all of a sudden all sounds disappear from your camp and whatnot. And I was far enough away because you must know I was relieving myself to go to the bathroom or whatever early in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know, I guess we just go out in the middle of the woods, whatever. We're kind of doing a thing. And I always bring my recorder with me everywhere I go.
It's the fact that you're recording while you're going out there to the
bathroom. I stopped. I put pause. Trust me.
I know.
We've had cases where we've left recorders in places.
Yeah.
And gone back, and the owners have picked it up for us. We won't name areas, but one guy picked it up, put it in his pocket, didn't know it was recording, and he went to the bathroom, and you could hear everything. Just
we listened. Like, we got to listen to his entire day.
Yes.
Of arguing with his wife and business and all that stuff. Yeah.
Real quick, Rhea, that's not Bobo. That's finding Bigfoot with Bobo. No, this one's Mountain Monsters. It's a bunch of, like I said, like hillbillies, basically. They're supposed to be good old boys, and they're out there with shotguns and their stories, and they're looking for urban myths up in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, I think you can watch it on Discovery Plus.
You can.
I think it is.
Yeah.
On there. It's
that-
okay. I mean, they bring the story
I
and
like
the
the myth.
idea
Yeah.
and the myth to you,
Right.
but it's how they react and how they go about.
Yeah, it's TV.
We're gonna go out and shoot it and kill it and all that
Right.
stuff. So that part just bugs me. But the fact that they're bringing the story to life, I appreciate that part,
Right.
but not much else on that.
Just real quick, I'm going to show people how, in case you forget. I know it's going to sound unbelievably far-fetched, but this is what I was seeing up in the woods. And maybe it has a symbolic meaning. Maybe it doesn't.
maybe Hollywood, got it right.
But nonetheless, and I'll pull it
Or
up.
somebody put it out there and you did, and unknowingly put it out there, and
Right.
what could have been in their mind just something they did for the movie. But if we're seeing it in real life,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold it down, dang it. Oh, there it is. I don't understand what this is doing.
But
Being real finicky tonight.
no, some of the things we've seen in the woods is absolutely mind-blowing.
Right.
With basically, I love going hiking. I love going out and being lost and just finding new things.
Right. Right.
But at the same time, you don't know what you're going to run into, and I'm actually more afraid of the unknown than I am like an animal or something.
Yeah.
Mind me, I do keep in mind, like the big cats or the bears or anything like that
Yeah.
could be out there, but
Oh, for sure.
it is like the unknown. I don't know what I'm going to experience out there, what kind of people I'm going to run into, what kind of creatures I'm going to run into.
Yeah.
But
So this is the stuff. I mean, this isn't an actual picture from our excursion that night, or that day, whatever. I was actually seeing structures like that in the woods. Now, granted, this is supposed to be from the Blair Witch type thing, whatever. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Rhea saying, "Oh, that is totally Blair Witch vibes." I was seeing these,
Yeah.
but this one's lower. This is, I don't like. I don't know if somebody just put this out there after the movie. Fact, put on their property or some in the woods. But these were hanging up in the trees, like between trees, like things that we couldn't reach. We had to
Yeah.
climb up there.
it was structures like that. Yeah,
across the
absolutely.
edge, yeah, and then hang these down. And I'm like, that's the first thing that popped in my mind was, holy shit, I'm looking at the Blair Witch all over again. Which is, I mean, I was like, I know the Blair Witch is a made-up story. Well, allegedly, whatever you want to believe.
I don't care. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
But going back to my earlier thoughts, I was seeing these structures up in the air, and then we found a couple of those shelters, those looked like half moon shelters, kind of. There were branches put together, and then the next day we found more and more of those. 'Cause
Right.
we had to go out in this daylight. This was almost at dusk, whatever we saw this, and so we had so much daylight before we could continue exploring. But the next day we found all kinds of prints and stuff. We found more of those structures, not the like the half moon, looked like something was burrowing in there basically and just hanging out. That's where they slept. But the thing that always threw me off was the property kind of slopes a little bit towards the main property where we were staying at with the houses and the brothers where they lived, the Indian brothers, and we saw more and more. They were like one here, and they were getting closer and closer to the property, like they were curious about the people that had been living there. And it's always
Just getting
baffled me.
comfortable.
That too.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the first night we were there. We camped out. I'm not much of a camper. Let's rephrase that. I'm not a camper. I'm a city person. And went out there, I slept in a tent and it was freezing because it wasn't supposed to be as cold as it was. And it
Right.
got really cold. And that was the same infamous night where we saw things in the cemetery with the one band of snow that wasn't supposed to snow that night in the cemetery. But anyways, while we were sleeping, we could hear rocks being thrown at us, wood knocks, the growls that were real heavy.
The growls were
That's what finally got me
tremendous.
out of the tents because they heard some growls and I heard them, because anything that happened, I'd wake up. So it's just, if we ever encountered a Bigfoot, this is the time we definitely saw it. I mean, we went back multiple times to this location, of course, and experienced more and more things with the actual sighting of Bigfoot we've seen. Just random weird things happening that we could never really describe what was going on. It's just mind-blowing stuff we've seen. But it's always fascinating. I mean, the stuff that we would experience out there with the lights. That once again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, were those the UFO that the brothers claimed lights? Was it the orbs of whatever we talked about, the she squatchers? We talked about those. Remember
Okay.
the little fairy lights?
So
Go ahead.
we have Tahlequah,
Yeah.
and we shared our experiences with the she squatchers,
Right.
and started talking about everything that we experienced.
Mhm.
Okay. So, fairies.
Right.
Oh my God. Was that what we caught?
With the lights?
Yeah. Like out in the cemetery, flying around. The multiple colored
Yeah.
lights that almost had like a couple of them on video even seemed like they had a fluttering to them.
If I can find that video, but go ahead.
Right. But, you know, hearing what they told us, you know, and they were recent guests on their show,
Mm-hmm.
it's unbelievable. You know, I think about it, you know, I was like, okay, why not? Why not could this not be real? I've never thought about fairies and gnomes and all that stuff being real or little creatures. But why not? I believe in ghosts. I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in aliens. I believe in, you know, or shoot, what else do I believe in? You know?
The boogeyman?
Huh?
The boogeyman?
Why not?
Just kidding.
You know?
Kinda.
Keanu Reeves? Yeah, absolutely.
Who'd you say?
Keanu Reeves.
The boogeyman? Oh, okay.
John Wick. Come on.
Sorry. I was like, what?
No. But seriously, like even like, you know, from Jersey Devil to
Right.
everything else. Why not?
Yeah.
And then hearing their stories and how believable, like you said, how believable they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no reason to not believe them. It's just like us telling our stories to other people.
Right.
So why
Well,
not?
It's similar stuff that we've experienced, that they've experienced.
Yeah.
And our buddy Josh Hurd. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the first time we even talked to him was on their
Yeah.
podcast. Jason and I did a podcast with them in 2019, early 2019. There's a 300 episode, and I need to put that video out, or the audio out for them. But they were just asking our questions. We went to the KC Paracon in 2019 to talk on behalf of Bigfoot in Kansas, which Jason's a member of. Our buddy Brendan owns, and he created it because of this Tahlequah experience. So we went on the show and did this talk about it, and we're telling our story about Tahlequah. Like we love that story because, like I said, it was just a mind-blowing, fascinating story. We're telling all this stuff, and after we get done telling all this stuff, Josh Hurd speaks up and goes, "Wait a minute, guys, you guys had this experience and stuff?" And he just something, you know, struck a nerve
Right.
or whatever, and we're like, "Yeah, this is what we had," you know. It's like, holy crap! And then he starts telling us his own experiences. He had a similar experience down in Arkansas, not too far. But we were in Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma. He was in, I think, kind of northwest Oklahoma, or I'm sorry, northwest Arkansas. And they butt up to each other, obviously, if you know your history or your geography. He was experiencing similar stuff that we did in a different location, not too far from there, which
Right.
was just crazy. He's like, "Holy shit, dude!" And so he starts telling us his story, and it's like listening to your own story bounce back off the wall.
Right.
To you. It's like, wow, that's exactly what we had. Yeah, we
Right.
had that too. He saw lights. He saw, I mean, the obvious wood knocks and stuff like that. Just different
Right.
signs, you know, that were happening, and it was interesting to hear him talk about it. It's just like, holy crap. So this thing is not just us, our imagination. You know, you had a similar experience not too far from us where we were down there, and it's pretty incredible.
Right.
But what I was going to earlier, he was going back to the story of my father-in-law on that show. He said they give off, Bigfoots give off, which we know they give off eye shine. I mean,
But-
what if those different color eyes is what we're seeing possibly out there with Bigfoot eyes too?
So all animals
Not
give
fairies.
off eye shine?
Supposedly. I mean, well, I've heard humans can't, but then I've seen in IR lights, and you see somebody's eyes.
I don't know.
So I don't know how that's possible.
So what's the story of the lights in the eyes? You know, I mean,
They just give.
and everyone says that their eyes are red.
Yeah. Yep.
For the life of me, as much as I believe in Bigfoot and everything like that,
Yeah.
I just don't buy the whole red eye thing.
Right.
I just don't get it. I mean, why are their eyes red?
Well.
Why would they be red? They're not devils. They're not evil.
Yeah.
Not saying that has to
I was gonna say, why
do with
would they be
anything
red?
with it. But no, seriously, like, why would their eyes be red? They're not robotic.
Right.
They're not, I mean,
Well, it all depends on your belief system. Are they just simple primates that have eyes? Well, okay, that's a good question about red eyes. Why, when we take pictures, why does a lot of our pictures come out red eyes?
the flash, the light,
It's
right?
the irises, right? So
Right.
That's the same inflection or the same definition in their eyes. When we're shining
But
infrared cameras or lights at them.
Okay, but some people see it with just their bare eyes.
Yeah.
They look up from the woods and like, I see red eyes. I was like, how?
Right.
What are you looking at? Maybe it's not even Bigfoot. Maybe it's something else.
Okay. Going back to our Tahlequah. I love this. This is a fun topic. Again. Going back to Tahlequah. Remember when we had our experience, we were filming with our buddy Casey?
Uh-huh.
Remember the next morning outside the trailer, he said, well, nobody's gonna really, how can I put this? We saw red eyes shine that night, or we saw these red lights, remember, outside the cemetery, remember the glowing and stuff? He goes, for this intents purposes, it's gonna be hard to pass off as fact or whatever without having actual, footage of it that he caught. What if we just say that those are, what do you call them? They weren't armadillos. What do you say they were, remember? He said
Wild hogs and stuff like
He
that.
said something about we'll just say it's that.
Yeah.
But he saw it.
He saw it.
I mean, I captured on different previous, excursion, whatever. It's just like, but he can't pass it off as that without having
Right.
facts, the dead body right in front of
Right.
it. Hey, this is Bigfoot right here. Look at his red eyes.
Okay, so the red eyes we were seeing, they weren't like low to the ground, were
They
they?
weren't floating way above our eyes. They were just as tall as what we were. If not
Okay.
taller.
So they're humanoid size.
Exactly.
Okay, a pig's not that big, right?
Oh,
So
I know, but I'm saying Bigfoot is.
could be sometimes.
But I'm not saying that's Bigfoot eyes. I'm just saying, what if it was, though?
What if it's Bigfoot? What if it
it's
could
a
be Skinwalker? Could be
It's a Native American land, so. Yeah.
it could be a number of mythology right
Right.
there that we were experiencing. That was around us and was watching us.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're always feeling watched.
something affected Brendan. Something
Right.
I saw something moving out on the perimeter of the
Right.
cemetery. I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to say.
Oh, we see dark shadows out there, yeah, for sure.
This was like small.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never
Somebody made a comment that night, a juvenile possibly. Was it you that said that?
possibly.
I remember that, somebody saying that.
I saw something on, like, I was in the cemetery with you,
Yeah.
and I looked off toward our cars and everything, off in the distance.
Mhm.
I saw something scurrying around and moving from, like, area to area, and just, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
stalking, in a way.
Right.
I don't know.
This cemetery we're talking about, like I said, it's in northeast Oklahoma. This was like, I don't remember, about our third or fourth trip down there when this was happening, but up to this point, only a few of us had ever gone there. And for whatever reason, my first trip into there, I've never been to this part of Oklahoma ever. I don't go to Oklahoma unless I'm just going clear straight down south to go down to Texas or, somewhere like that. But this is the same place I caught a recording when I'm walking through the cemetery. The very first time I was ever there, something said like, "Hey Leo" or "Hate Leo" or something, but it said my name. It called my name out. And I was just like, I didn't hear it in real.
And I heard the audio. You played it.
After I came back and analyzed the audio, something's there, and it's not one of us because there's only 3 other people with me at the time, and it wasn't one of their voices. You can hear us talking to each other, and this was kind of a scratchy though. I was thinking about an old phonograph record that you put the needle on, and it's like
Right.
scratch, and that's kind of what it says. It's like, "Hey Leo," and it's just a whispery sound, and it's just like, when I first heard it, I thought it said "Hey Leo," like it's saying "Hey Leo," like I'm like, well, hey, who the fuck in the cemetery knows my name? Sorry about my language. It's that type of show. Who knows my name down there other than the 3 people I'm with? And it wasn't any of them saying, "Hey Leo," because we were talking about we got to find these certain graves. But when I go back and listen to it again, it almost sounds like it says "Hate Leo," which I know I listened to another piece of audio and I almost hear "Hate Brandon," which is our Brandon Callahan,
Right.
Brandon from Kansas City, who wrote the book "The Agony That Remains." So this is the same trip. But what are you gonna say? Sorry, I can tell you.
Well, I'm just trying to like put it all in perspective of everything that happened in that. In that. So let's just talk about like everything that happened in the cemetery in itself.
Mhm.
You have the ground that feels weird.
Right.
It's more like spongy like. It wasn't wet. It wasn't,
Yeah.
moisture or anything. It's like spongy. It's like that new kind of, playground that you go to the park and
Oh, the
everything.
rubber, yeah.
And they have, it's all
Tires.
spongy. But a little bit more spongier than that.
Oh, yeah, it's like you're walking on air almost.
Yeah.
You're in grass.
And this is a whole cemetery.
Well,
We've all been in cemeteries.
yeah. Yep.
I've never been in one that feels like that.
No, I feel like you're gonna fall through the ground, basically.
Yes.
So, the odd thing
But the
about
ground doesn't break.
Right.
It just goes.
What doesn't compute is there's a big, like, what do you call it? Oh, goddamn, what's my train of thought? The wrought iron fence around the whole
Yeah.
whole cemetery, and it's a pretty good sized cemetery. It's not like overwhelming, but it's decent sized.
Right.
And this is the ground you're talking about inside the cemetery itself. You take a step out of that cemetery, and it's all hard.
And it's back to normal again.
It makes no freaking sense.
Carl.
Have an echo? Sorry. Yeah, I probably have it too far away. Go ahead, keep talking, Jason.
Okay, so you have the ground when you walk into it and everything. Okay, then you have the automatic voice that's totally intelligent, saying your name, talking to you. You also have, mind you, it is cold that day, that night, but it's only snowing around that tree.
And there's nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Anywhere was it snowing.
Was it snowing? Just around that tree.
Right.
You have the possible, what do you call it? Morphing,
Sorry, there we go.
I don't know, a figure that's morphing that Callahan caught over there in the corner.
Shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter.
Right.
You have all the different lights that were coming around us and floating around us. That once we've talked to the she squatchers, it could be the possibility.
Right.
It follows in line with the mythology of the Native American beliefs and stuff like that, and just the land itself. If you read up on nature and land and different creatures that come upon and from that, so we have fairies and stuff like that, possible little creatures that are out and about, because we were seeing creatures that were way shorter than me, and I'm the shortest person of the group, way shorter than me, walking along the perimeter and everything. I mean, we're going into a realm that is like beyond our, at the time, we didn't know what we were walking into.
Yeah.
Basically. So you have all this stuff that's happening around us. That's mythology and lore.
Yeah.
That's coming to life in front of us.
Right.
So what do you do with that?
Got a couple of questions people want to know. Or some opinions and stuff like that. Okay. One of the questions was talking about the red eyes we talked about earlier, Bigfoot. Is a possibility they're albino, and that's not unheard of. There is albino Yetis or Bigfoots that always described as being red-eyed and whatnot. So that's
right.
Not all Bigfoot.
It's a good question. For what we saw there, from our perspective, and from the night that you guys had the creature 20 feet away from you, from the camper, it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark.
It was dark haired at least.
Black, maybe.
Yeah, black to dark hair.
Yeah. Right.
I do remember one night we were there that I was standing there with Roth, and we were looking down toward the entryway of the drive.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I could have swore, and he did too. Mm-hmm. He saw it too. We saw a figure walk from the field.
Oh yeah.
Across the street over to us. And I swear it was like a light-colored figure.
Well, with that being said, that's also the same field where they see the woman in white, allegedly.
True.
I'm always looking for it's a huge field that opens up.
It is.
But at night it's covered by trees. Well, there's a line of trees that go around the whole property, so you have to kind of, when we get close to it, you have to go like peek the trees and whatnot to even barely see in there. But up from where we stay at, we're up on a hill kind of, you see it opens up you can see pretty much everywhere in there, but at night you can't see nothing.
But Roth and I saw a figure walk along, across the street into the tree line.
Is that the woman of the woods?
And then it was walking the perimeter, and it was coming toward us, and then I lost it.
Yeah.
Because Roth and I were just standing there for the longest time, going, "You see this, right?"
You like coming back and telling us that story.
Yeah. I mean, plain as day. And then I did see that dark figure come around in from the to the house that is livable.
Right.
That with the light pole, had that light pole right there. That illuminated the whole figure, and I could see it rounding the corner, and it was just a massive, huge, dark figure walking on two legs, walking toward us.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that place was, for the first time we went there, like I said, I had heard all these stories, like I said, and I left with more questions than answers, and ever since we've been back, it's always been that way.
But with the red eyes, from albino, I don't think that would make a difference in eye shine or anything like that compared to like a normal colored
Well, I mean,
figure.
Sort of eye shine. She's saying what about albinos? People, say they see red eyes.
But this is like people are saying they're seeing bright red eyes as if they're glowing.
Right.
And I just don't know if I get it or not. I don't know.
I mean, you still haven't watched Expedition Bigfoot, have you? The one I told you
Josh
about?
Gates?
No.
Oh no, Expedition Bigfoot. No.
Sea Squatchers.
You know what? As soon as I get home tonight, I'm going to start watching it.
I mean, because there's something in there about that. So you need to watch that. It's like the second episode or third episode.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe season 1.
I know Corey started watching it and she liked it.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it.
I think you'll be fascinated by their mannerisms. And, I mean, how they, like I said, they got incredible people on there that are doing scientific experiments that, I'm not saying it's all 100%, fact, but it's the fact that what they tried and do.
I like the fact that from what I've read, about them and what she's done in the past and stuff like that, her background, I do like that.
Oh yeah, her studies. We're talking about. I can't remember her name. It's talking like Mira Minerva or something like that. She does a background. Her background is she studies primate. She's been out in the jungles and studies silverback gorillas basically. So she knows their tendencies.
Just like how I like Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
Right.
And the fact that he's the leading anthropologist on, one of the leading, not the leading, one of the leading, on
Bigfoot.
Well, on apes, on monkeys and stuff like that. He knows everything about monkeys and their basically how they walk, how they move, and all their footprints and their structure.
Right.
And now he's like the leading person in Bigfoot because of the fact that he found prints that have dermal ridges, which is fingerprints, which you literally can't fake that.
Right.
Especially if you're off in the woods. Why would you plant something off in the middle of nowhere just for the hopes that somebody might find it?
Well, remember, wasn't Johnny Alder the one talking about it last week? He used to do that. He said you could tell they weren't Bigfoot prints. They were archaic looking.
Right. But the fact that these actually have prints and they look just like somebody had just walked there, but yet they're this big.
Yeah. And the thing's been fascinating. The more we talk to people, like the Sea Squatchers and other people, the thing's been fascinating. Even, I think, on a couple of shows I've watched, the thing we don't always think about is the handprints. You always think about Bigfoot and feet, only feet. Then you see things, and we were seeing, the Sea Squatchers had that video of the sand that they saw were on a log.
Right.
Out with, what's his name? Oh, God, what's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know the guy that you're talking about, but I forgot
his name, dang it.
Mr. Bigfoot? I don't know.
I'll guess it comes later on. But anyways, they saw that on his his main area he likes to hunt. They seen this big old handprint, that was soot and sand, whatever. This is the same area. They could see where this thing was dragging its fingers in the sand, whatever. Looking for grub worms or whatever they said, grubs and everything, like not grub worms, grubs and other things to eat possibly or whatever.
Well, and then you have the movie or documentary of Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, and they actually caught it looked like they caught the body mapping of a creature laying in the mud to reach the food that they had laid out for it. Huh? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So they had laid out food for it in the mud and everything,
Yeah.
and actually laid down, and they could see like every form, from the butt and the hip and the legs and the thigh, all the way to the arm, reaching out and grabbing it, and then walking off.
Right.
They caught that all in the mud. They plastered it. They got the casting of it. And it's crazy that they actually do that, but nobody, how many people know that exists? Not many, because they're not looking at it. They're not reading about it. And
they're looking for the footprints only.
It's just the fact that, for those naysayers that are like, oh, it's only one creature, they're not really looking into the fact that there's decades of research on this stuff.
Yep.
Definitely. And if they could find the creature and capture it, they would have by now. But something is going on where we're not getting that. But the same thing goes paranormal.
Oh yeah. Once again, to be pointing the camera at the right time. And
we have evidence, but there's all the naysayers are like, well, you got to give me 100% proof.
Yeah.
We have audio, we have photographs.
Yeah, but in this day
what
and age,
more do you need?
Doctor those. I'm not saying that's
basically they want to be in person seeing that.
And that's kind of what it's going to take, is somebody's going to have to be able to. Those naysayers. Have to
but we are.
I'm not saying
that's the thing.
We're not naysayers, though.
I know, but that's the thing.
Those people are.
How many naysayers can you get involved in that and do that?
To get everybody in, or till you get a ghost caught in a cage, and say, hey, here's the ghost we caught, or you get, of course I'm being sarcastic, or the Bigfoot creature himself, and say, here he is, look at that, it's not a guy in a costume.
So your photograph that you captured in Dodge City, I love that.
Oh. The thing on the stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To me, that absolutely ranks up there with like the lady at the Brown Mansion.
Oh, right.
That ranks up there with so many other photographs. But this is a legitimate creature. It looks like a creature.
Yeah.
But you could tell it's a person sitting there on their butt with their hands on their knees, watching all of us.
Oh man, I shouldn't even talk about that.
I'm sorry. I kind of just went right into that, but but it's the fact that we have the proof of such things.
Yeah, but you're not there to witness it in your own. It's actually in the intro.
I'm not there to witness when they come up with the perfect vaccine for stuff, but I'll take their word for it. But I'll take their word for it on certain things. Like food, pizza. This is the best, stuff we've ever had,
I won't.
But I don't know. All the naysayers, it's just, they just want to gripe because they're not having the opportunity to get out there to do what we're doing too.
Well, they don't take the opportunity to do it, but
that too.
There's a couple other things going back to our talk about the albino. Some of that stuff, Rhea said it could be some camera glare of some of the stuff we're seeing, like as far as the eye shine maybe, and different things. I mean, it's possible, things bouncing back off the irises and stuff like that, or, whatever. There's one person, Deborah, asked about what time of year was it when you're talking about the land itself. That's gonna play a part into what the ground could be. It's been different times. We've been out there as early as the first trip was March. The last trip was April.
Yeah. Was it April the last time we were out there?
Like April 4th or 7th or something like that. We did a 4-day trek out there.
That's right.
We've been out there, I can't remember the other treks. I want to say we've been out there in October, November maybe?
Yeah, we've been out there where it's 21-degree weather.
Yeah.
Where we were still seeing eye shine in the woods and stuff like that.
But the ground... See, and the thing is...
the ground was hard and frozen.
It's always hard on the out... I'm going to say that again. It's always on the outside of the cemetery. It's always real, like... strong, like firm footing, whatever. I mean, it's obviously ground, like you would expect. It's just once you step foot past those wrought iron entrance, the gates, whatever, everything just turns to a different.
Right.
Enough to where you have to worry about, because some of these are like, this cemetery is old. I mean, it dates back to, I think, the 1800s as far as Indians that are buried. Maybe it's 1800s. The Cherokee people were buried there or whatever.
Right.
There's some things that are unmarked that you'll hear it on footage or on video. I know the footage is out there. We have it on our YouTube channel, the Everyday Legacy Paranormal YouTube channel. You'll hear somebody going, I think it's Jason saying, watch out, we're standing on graves or whatever, you know, I know we're not trying to be disrespectful. Plus, there's one footage while I'm walking, and you'll hear me go, oh, shoot, I almost fell into a grave, because it's like, I'm trying not to step on, I'm trying to be respectful, but they're just everywhere out there, and a lot of them are unmarked, or the markings are not very well.
They're not very well marked.
There's some cool looking ones out there.
You just kind of look down, and there's a tiny little marker there.
Right. I was trying to figure out what else we got. Yeah, Reagan said she can't believe how crazy Oklahoma has gotten over Bigfoot. We talked about that with the She Squatchers, I think on their show, The Journey, and we talked about on ours too, the bounty out there down in Oklahoma, where if you can capture one, it has to be alive, can't shoot it, can't hurt it, you get some kind of bounty, whatever, which I'm curious to see what's going to come out of that. I mean, hopefully, it'd be awesome to see that. I mean, somebody comes up with this is definitely it. There you go. And like, holy crap, and it changes everything we've
so they're going to capture and walk out a creature that is walking on two legs, has the same 5 fingers as you,
right.
5 toes as you on each foot,
right.
Walking upright, and, it's like, you know how horrible that sounds, and just in my mind, it just pictures it.
It's going to take a cage of some sort, probably.
But why are we doing it? Just for our own pleasure?
Oklahoma. It's just one company. It's not all of Oklahoma.
It's one lunatic, senator who put it out there.
It's like, I can't remember the county. Is it Rhea or something like that?
Yeah.
What's her name? Sorry.
I don't know.
What is the county name? I can't remember. It's one area. Why? I think he's just trying to draw tourism is what he's trying to do to the region, because they're suffering, probably because of the pandemic or whatever reason behind it. But he wants to draw people there to hunt.
As human beings, we love to, attack another species to do so.
I mean, it's not unheard of. You do it all the time.
I know.
So,
it's right in the realm of us.
I'm just saying.
It's right in the realm of us,
Right. I'm trying to think. Damn it. I got this stuff somewhere. I'll try to find it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If the creature is, as they say, and from past stories throughout the centuries,
right.
Of these creatures, they are deadly. They can be very lethal into attacking. I mean,
Sure.
There are stories where they have been, not seen directly killing somebody, but you just get the aspect that it did kill somebody.
There's been stories of people getting drug off and kidnapped.
Yeah,
whatever.
Kidnapped too.
Never being shown alive, or never shown up again.
Right.
I mean.
So therefore, they can do stuff and do harm to people,
Right.
but so the only aspect that I see of this whole bounty, people are just going to shoot first and ask questions later.
Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. But then it's also, I mean, I don't know about Oklahoma, but obviously like in Washington and Oregon, and they're protected species up there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do that,
Thank God.
you're going to jail. Allegedly.
Even if they're not real. But thank God they're doing something to help.
But why even go through all that trouble to protect something that may or may not be real? There's got to be a reason behind it, possibly, other than just to add to your state lore, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Picture, Jason. You talked about it, and I can't even find it.
Do you want me to send it to you?
You always say that, and then I find it. Wait a minute. Did I just find it? Hang on.
I can send it to you.
Oh, no, it's shady. Like I said, it is in the intro and outro of the show.
Yeah.
There's a before and after. It's the staircase, and then you'll see all the dots from our laser grids that we have shining up there, and then all of a sudden it switches over to the next scene. You'll see something sitting on the staircase.
Right.
I know I have it here. I'll find it. But I don't know what to think of all this stuff. I mean, it's cool, fascinating stuff. I love talking about all this. It's the same thing. It's the same cause we fight for when it comes like does ghosts exist, to aliens, to whatever.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
So, now going with what the She Squatchers were talking about. So, what's your take on the fairies?
I don't know. I'm interested. I would love to see that, because that was one of the claims down in Tahlequah was these brothers had been seen as kids. These things come up to the window, scratching the windows, and then fly
Right.
off. And
Well,
they call them little fairies. Little
Was that
fairies.
fairies or was that something else
Well, I don't
that
know
was
what they call it.
that was out the window? Because I always was thought in my head that they were talking about seeing a kind of like a creature in the window. That when they finally turned and looked and it saw that they were being seen, it would like drop from the window and take off running.
Oh, these things that was shot up in the air. They said. So there's
Oh,
multiple
see,
ones. Which the
I
thing-
heard another story where they took off running in the woods.
It's another thing where it had the same movement that Brandon Callahan said he saw in the cemetery, where the thing that our buddy Callahan wrote that book that Jason and I are lucky to be also a part of in that book. It's called The Agony That Remains. It's about the whole property, the story over the years of everything we've all experienced, documented the brothers' experience, the family's experience, the possibility of why this is happening. He talks about going down to this place one of the first times he was down, or another time he was down there, and he was filming in the same cemetery that we're talking about with the spongy ground. And he's just kind of filming the graves and stuff, and I'm pretty sure it's in daylight this happens, because we've seen part of the footage. We haven't seen the actual footage though. But anyways, he's sitting there and he says he noticed something in the back corner of the cemetery, and he looks up like, what is that? And he sees this big black shadow kind of just staring there, looking at him. So he starts to kind of make his way towards that, and all of a sudden he kind of stops for whatever reason, because the thing stands up. And this thing grows, he says it's tall. And he's like, what the hell am I looking at, whatever. And he's sitting there looking at it, he's making eye contact with it, and this thing starts, almost like a bull-like motion, it starts kicking his foot, kicking the ground, like, I'm
Right.
going to charge you, whatever. He's like, oh shit, this thing's going to charge me. And so he doesn't do anything. He's just there, well, what can I do? Even if they charge me, I can't run. I mean, if I run, it's still going to get me, whatever. He just sits there and films this thing, and the thing turns and dissipates and, like, flies up in the air, like, twists up in the air.
Right.
Like almost tornadic, where it's just like, and disappears. See, that's the thing I heard about some of those encounters outside the brothers' windows with the little witches, little fairies, they call them, whatever. The same thing happened. They would sit there and gnaw at the window trying to get in, turn it, and then do the same motion. So is it little shapeshifters, which the Sheep Squatchers talk about, the little gnomes, whatever, the
Yeah.
little all different shapes and sizes of these
Right.
things, the fairies and stuff like that. It's similar. It's as crazy as it sounds. It's almost a similar actions. Barbara wants to know, have they seen them up close? As close as they could be, because they were in their bedroom. The brothers shared a bedroom. We've been in the actual bedroom. It's hard to get in there now because the house is falling in on itself. It would be outside their windows, basically just scratching on the windows. That's
Yeah.
as close as they could get. I mean, that the brothers that lived in the property. Now, they were children at the time. Now they're like in their 60s. Well, one of them is
Yeah.
deceased at this point, but they were 60s now, and so it's been for years. Charles says land spirits. I don't know what those are. I'm not land spirits. Talking about what they experienced.
Yeah,
what
I
those
mean,
are.
for the fairies themselves, I mean, what the Sheep Squatchers were saying, they're entities of the earth,
Well,
basically.
yeah. And that's what we asked him too. Is it like elementals, or is it whatever?
Yeah.
Different things.
Like different color meant something else. Personality, they said.
Possibly, yeah.
But the fact that when Jenna was talking about the creature that she saw through the binoculars, it was like what she described as like a gnome
Right.
or a little creature.
Sure.
When she was looking at it, she thought it was like a statue until it turned and looked right at her as if it. The way she did it with her eyes.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that it knew it was being watched and turned and looked right at her, and she's way far away looking through binoculars,
Right.
and it looked right at her.
That's just so weird. It's like, was it at first trying to pose, whatever? Like, if I stand still, they won't know I'm real or not. And then all of a sudden it looks at her.
Or if it was watching whatever Sasquatch was moving around, and it was paying attention and just kind of watching.
Right.
Who knows what the... Okay, so if if you really go into like a Disney, realm here, you've got Sasquatch, having friendships or a connection with
Right.
all kinds of fairies and gnomes and other worldly creatures of nature that we humans don't even know exist for the fact that we wake up, we go to work, we do our job, we go to work, we go to a restaurant, we go to a club, we go to a bar, we go hang out with family. We don't pay attention to anything out there, right? We stay in our bubble. So we don't really leave our bubble to go and like look at anything. And then when we do leave our bubble, we shoot first, ask questions later. Right?
I don't. I'm just playing.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean that is human.
In a nutshell.
If we don't understand, we definitely have a tendency to shoot first, like you said, ask questions later. I finally found the picture. Sorry, that's what I was doing. Sorry, I know it doesn't make.
Man, that took you like 15 minutes.
Because I saved it in different spots, and I'm like, what the hell could it be? Hang on, let me get this over.
I could have just sent it to you,
No, that's no fun.
I know. But as we wait for the photograph.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't know. There's so many different directions we could go with this, and if you think about the universe and everything else around us, we know nothing about our world around us.
Sure, we don't even know what's on Earth. This underneath the oceans to out in the middle of unexplored land. I mean, we don't know. There's so many stuff that's possible.
The ocean itself.
Yeah, the oceans, the forest. This is the picture Jason's referring to. Like I said, it's on the intro and the outro. This is the picture of the thing at the Santa Fe Depot in Dodge City, Kansas, which our good buddy Carl is a part of. He knows the story well. We've been exploring with him since 2011 till now, and this was captured on one of our investigations.
He puts up with us all the time.
So you'll see this thing. You can see through it. That's what's bizarre. You can see through the actual body itself. Sorry, we're on delay. There it is. So this was captured during one of our investigations.
Yeah, what I love the fact of that picture is the fact that you can see the legs, you can see the hands kind of gripping it, gripping the knees as if just sitting there and watching.
Yeah.
And it was just a chance of a lifetime that you caught this in a photograph.
Right. Now, you can kind of see the thing is like, okay, could it be a person? Sure, it could have been, but the fact you can see through its body, the railing behind it, the little brown like slats of that used to be it's a rail there, plus the white wall behind it. You can see that through the lower body of this person. The thing that's also weird is, okay, you see on the staircase the little dots. That's the laser grid we're talking about because we shoot infrared. Everything's infrared. It looks like it's on its eyes.
Right.
But okay, which is also possible. The fact is, it's two dots placed side by side in their eyes, and look at the picture. There's no dots that well, there's a couple that are close, but not that close. It's just baffling.
It is, but when you question whether or not that could be a person sitting there and stuff.
I don't believe it until I see it.
I've never seen anybody sitting there in any rotation I've ever done. I've never seen anybody sitting right there doing that, sitting there with their hands on their knees like that. I've never witnessed anybody like that. Most of the time, everybody's just down around where we are.
Right.
Everybody's too chicken to kind of go up there to the top and be around the possible spirit that we're talking to. I don't know. And I've taken photographs of the staircase with people, and none of them have ever turned out looking like that, ever.
Let me show another picture. This is another picture.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Not the same angle.
The same during the same. What do you call it? Damn, I'm distracted. It's during the same investigation, but a different time, a different angle. I'll put those up side by side here. In a memento of the staircase itself. And you're going to notice the difference in. Let's do that. Okay, so here comes the staircase. It's the same staircase. You get an idea what this layout looks. It's a little bit more in-depth, clearer. And so that's the staircase from a different angle. I'm trying to remember. Look at the very top. It's like somebody's leaning their head over. You see that right here? I'm talking about right there.
Could be.
I don't know if there's
but
a there or chandelier up there.
you would really have to be leaning way over the railing to do that.
But that's what it looks like. The staircase, and on the right corner, bottom or in the middle of the screen, that would be where that thing is sitting, the very top of that staircase. Now, the thing is, always struck me as I love about this picture and everything like that is how it's kind of peeking around the corner. When we first started going there, and we started interacting with the little girl spirit that we heard give us her name, and I heard it with my own ears. You hear the two-syllable word, and I caught it on a recorder and everything.
Right.
At the time, I thought it was Mary Beth, but it's actually, the more I thought about it, I was like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It's Elizabeth, which we think it is.
Right.
She had this tendency to do the same thing where she peeked over the railing, whatever, and it kind of, because back then at the time, where the staircase opens up, there's a wall there now. It never used to be a wall there on that first landing right there, the staircase. It used to be open. You could see through those railings. And I would go up on the back side of the staircase and look up, and I could see this girl looking down at me. And it gave me the creeps because I was still early on the team, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I'm seeing this thing. I'm hearing this girl with my own eyes, but I couldn't not resist to go do this. And I kept doing it over and over. And you could hear this little girl up there crying, kind of whimpering. We thought she needed help, possibly. We don't know the whole story behind there's why she's there. But other than some of the theories we've come across over the years and some of the recordings and whatnot. And
so, you were there when I first heard my first voice from her, right? When she told me no?
Yes, that was that same night.
Okay, so same night
Not this night, the picture, the same night, the first night we went there.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I asked her as I'm looking up, do you need anything? Can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that little voice that goes, no.
Right.
And I happened to look up. As soon as she said no, because I wasn't really looking up, but I was just kind of listening.
Yeah.
But I hear it. When I look up from the foot of the stairs, and I look up toward that where it rounds around,
yep.
I could see what looked like a dress rounding the corner.
Yeah.
And everything.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I do remember
it was almost like an old-fashioned dress from turn of the
Right.
century type. It was. I was jumping up and down in excitement for that. I wasn't scared. I was excited.
Yeah. Well, it's not that if I was scared. It's just
No. I know you. Yeah.
I'm just like, holy crap! I'm seeing what I think
But
I'm seeing.
you know how everybody gets freaked out when they see or hear something.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but no, I was excited when I saw that. It was like justification for me from what we were hearing and everything.
I'm trying to think what else we got. I know I have a bunch of this stuff. Like I said, if I know we go down this track, I would have put stuff in a folder and had it ready. But
sorry,
no,
I can go in a different direction.
oh heck no, this is fun.
Okay.
I like bringing up stuff because some people that are new to the show don't know our stories, don't know the stuff we've been doing this for almost over at this point, who knows how many years as a team and stuff like that. I mean, we've been together for a while.
We've been together for a while, but even individually,
Yeah.
we've been doing this for a lot longer than that.
Exactly. So we've experienced a lot of stuff that it's been an honor to be a part of. Things I've never seen, from Bigfoot possibly to ghosts to demons to you name it. We've been in some weird situations that I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this even possible? Should I be seeing this? I don't know. Why am I so lucky? But we've captured a lot of stuff we talk about. We captured on evidence,
And
recordings to pictures to audio or to video. Excuse me. Go ahead. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
I was just going to say, when it comes back to like the demon stuff, the possibility that we actually interacted with that,
Mm-hmm.
for me, deep down, I wanted to beat it than it was to like be so scared to like run away from it.
Right.
I wanted to like stand up against it and be like, who are you? I don't care.
Thing is, how do we stand up against something that we don't know? I mean, we know.
I just
we're asking for
remember
trouble.
in our Benton, that farmhouse in Benton.
Right.
Granted that we truly don't know for sure what it was, but the fact that it said names that you said, you didn't want to repeat.
Yeah.
Because it had to deal with demons or demonic.
Right.
I just wanted to be defiant the entire time I was there. Both times that we went.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Haven't you ever watched Beetlejuice, man? You're supposed to say its name 3 times.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I asked you what the names were, and you were like, no.
I won't say it.
I'm not saying it out loud. And I'm like, come on, what were they? And I'm like, no. But no, I wanted to be defiant and actually like go against it because for some reason I wasn't afraid of it.
Right.
You know, I'm like, screw you, you're hurting people.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, but the thing is though, those that we don't understand or can't comprehend. I mean, how do we? Okay, I'm here now in your face. Now what? Now what are you gonna do? I'm attacking you. I mean, the holy water's not gonna help.
But
The cross on your
but
neck's not gonna help. I'm just
we were
saying,
defiant, and it didn't do anything.
I mean,
Whereas she was vulnerable,
yeah,
and it was attacking her.
yeah. Well,
So
attacking
therefore-
her through somebody else though.
Right. What I feel like is if you're afraid and if you're willing to let it do it to you, it's going to happen. But sometimes if you're more defiant, it just goes, okay, I'm out.
Not always.
Maybe.
Not always. Think about the case of, The Exorcist, whatever.
John Doe. Or what was his name? Something Doe.
Roland Doe.
Huh?
Was it Roland?
Roland.
Yeah.
Roland Doe.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a real case that,
Right.
and there's other ones, the Emily Rose one, that's a real case.
Yeah.
That one's horrifying.
I mean, were they real cases? I mean, they're kind of sketchy in their history of documentation.
Well, this is a different time, too. We're talking
I know.
The Exorcist one was, what, the early 40s?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
And then the Emily Rose one was even further.
Yeah.
I think it was in the late 1800s, I want to say. Early 1900s. And the audio, there's audio of that. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's audio for all that stuff. We used to play, we played on like one of our early stuff.
Yeah.
So,
It was it was crazy.
I
It was
don't know
crazy.
if I still have, I should.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't controlling the show
But-
at the time.
So,
Not at all. Go ahead, sorry.
let's go to,
Now,
can I change it?
retain it to.
So, what's your take on Johnny Hauser and the Villisca Axe Murder House?
Oh, I love it, man. I mean, that's why I really wanted to get him on the show.
Yeah.
I knew about the Villisca Axe Murder House years before, and
Right.
then we went to KC Paracon, and he was there. I was like, holy crap, this is a guy that's associated with the house, and because we found more of the
I
story.
want to go so bad.
I do too, and we will. And, excuse me. It's a fascinating story, but like we talked about on the show, I asked him, do you think that some of the activity still written in the house? He said no,
Right.
which I could see that.
When do you think it actually left? When it started becoming popular for people traveling and it became like a tourist attraction? Do you
Quite
think it
possibly.
started to like fade out and go?
Quite possibly, yeah. I
So-
honestly don't know.
So when we were talking to him, we brought up the whole, the people that I met when I first started doing this, the Miller Group.
Oh, right.
Wherever they are, I don't know where they are. I hope they're doing great. It was the Miller sisters and Misty. I still think about them quite often because of the fact that they got me started in all this
Right.
and got me hooked into wanting to find the answers, and the fact that she was the first medium I ever met when I used to think it was hoaxy
Right.
and I didn't believe in it. But she really changed my mind on all that stuff and actually kind of made me a believer in that. Not on everybody, but certain people.
Sure.
But the fact when they went there, I remember the photographs, and I'm going to try and find them and send them to you, so maybe we can talk about it at a different time. The photographs that they had from Villisca, it was not just that one photograph that you shared
Right.
with Johnny, it was several. And they actually even had like one photograph that was like a dark shadow in the bedroom that looked like almost like somebody with an axe kind of going up.
Mhm.
And it was a very odd photograph. It was like a dark shadow figure that was in the bedroom. And they caught a photograph of that.
Right.
So, I mean, I wasn't there, so therefore I don't know. Did they fake it? I don't think so, because I truly want to believe that they were legit, because when I was with them, stuff that happened around me and them was legit, and it wasn't faked in any way, because you're damn right, I was paying attention to whether or not they were faking it.
Right.
Because when Missy told me to close my eyes, I closed one eye. And I had my other eye open to stuff. And when things were happening around me, I could see that it was actually happening and not being faked. Nobody else was around us.
Right.
So when things were moving and stuff like that, it was weird. But that whole Villisca Axe Murder House was like amazing. And they had several incidences throughout the case while they were doing it that it was from the photograph that we shared with Johnny Hauser that he was aware of it, as he said. But it almost looked like at the bottom of the stairs, it looked like little children's feet. And you can almost see the shoes and the socks and all that with that. Almost as if they're presenting themselves at the bottom of the stairs. That blew my mind. And the fact that they caught the figure, or the shadow figure, up in the bedroom where where the children were hacked up or hit with the axe, blows my mind. So, speaking with Johnny Hauser on that, and when we spoke to him in 2019 at the Kansas City Paracon, he truly believes that the spirits there of the family are no longer there. And if that's the case, I hope they're at rest. I hope they're at peace. I would hate to think that they're actually still there hurting and going through the same traumatic moments of their death. But if now, because of the fact that we are having tourism in all these paranormal sites, whether it's Stanley Hotel to Villisca to anywhere across the country, are we bringing everything to it ourselves too? Because of the fact that we all come with baggage, we all come with something attached to us. Speaking with Lena Townsend, I think I have, I think now 3 spirits that are actually attached to me, that are actually going along with me. So what about everybody else when they are going somewhere, going to investigations, going into a haunted location? Are you really interacting with the spirit that is said to be there? Or are you interacting with something that you brought that wants to interact with you? And then the answer, and if you're getting an answer, is that from the spirit that is trying to communicate with you and they're just trying to reach you in a certain way? Who knows? That's the crazy point. Let's see. Just reading here what everyone's saying here. I mean, residual energy is something playing out its most traumatic moment of itself. Could that disappear? Could. Or maybe we're just becoming so blind to it because we're wanting interaction with something. Because residual is not going to interact with you whatsoever. Residual is reenacting its moment of time. I mean, you gotta do your research on this and actually read about what residual is. It's going to continue doing its process. That's what residual is. But when we go investigating, we're wanting something to interact with us. We want something to actually communicate with us. Is it? We don't know for sure if it's actually who we are wanting to talk to. We think we're going to talk to the lady in white, or if we go to Dodge City, are we talking to Wyatt or any of those, Walter, names that were given to them. It's not their real names there, but who are we talking to? Are we talking to Walter that we assume is part of the depot, or are we talking to somebody that is attached to us individually? That's what I'm trying to get to. So Johnny Hauser actually says that he doesn't believe the family is there anymore, which goes to ask, what is there at the Villisca Axe Murder House? Is it possibly, someone down the street that died that just happens to see people wanting to interact with spirits, wanting to interact? Could be. We don't know. I mean, that's the thing. We want people to actually interact with us to give us answers. Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing. So, I don't know. What's everyone's opinion on residential to the I don't know, the intelligence of a haunting? Because if you talk about the Stanley Hotel and everybody who wants to go there, and I know that even Dan recently went out there to Stanley Hotel and he couldn't even get in because of the pandemic. But we've been told that when you go on the tour at the Stanley, you're not even going into the most haunted locations of the place. The most haunted locations of the Stanley Hotel is actually locked away, and you're not allowed to go into it. So therefore, the spirits that you're interacting with is completely different from what you're imagining you're having. I don't know. Probably just rambling here. I'm just talking to myself and all of you. Welcome back, Leo. No, I was just talking about how, when Johnny Hauser talked about how it's not the family anymore.
Right.
And that it's probably most likely just whatever anybody else is bringing in.
Yeah, like I said, I wonder how much of that is a lot of places we've been.
And I was saying that too, like the Stanley Hotel.
Yeah.
Or anywhere across the country. As much tourism has become such a huge thing, do you think it's wiping out all the original?
It might just be overriding it. Like, because I think a lot of people that don't really know, how many people have something possibly accompanying them, maybe not a possession, but an attachment.
Oh, well, we all have somebody that dies and
Sure.
And could be following us.
Yeah.
Like I said, I spoke with Lena, and I now have possibly 3.
Interesting.
Which I never knew that. So now I have 3. Which I thought it was just maybe the 1 or 2, maybe, but now 3.
Yeah, and I've always talked about when we go to locations, we've been through so many. What it is, I should count down so many investigations we've actually been doing over the years. We used to average at least 2 to 3 a month forever when we first started. And it was like going, and then there's one time we had them every weekend. It's just like, holy crap, this is getting out of hand, because it was keeping us busy, but
yeah,
it was hard to stay on top of some of that stuff. But what I was going to say was all the stuff places we've been, all our equipment cases and stuff like that, we were always dragging them through the dirt or some weird places, and just they're sitting right next to me. Yeah.
You've got the gear sitting next to you, and all that stuff has been in all of our locations.
The Tahlequah, the Dodge.
My God, the places they've been.
You name it.
Been,
over the years, and how much of that stuff's attached to my equipment now or whatever. Or even if you take a picture, or like the picture on the staircase or the video, is it possible to get trapped inside the video itself?
So the tripods that are in front of me right now,
that's part of them.
Are they any of the ones that were in Tahlequah?
They're all.
So therefore, I don't know which one, but they could have been the ones that were actually being moved and manipulated and all that stuff,
Yeah.
We've had that happen in 2 locations where the tripod, three actually, where the tripod's been manipulated and tossed.
Right. I'm curious now to think. That you got me thinking about that. I wonder if that is the case. I can pull the picture up, hopefully, if I can find it. Oh my God, sorry. Yeah, these things we bring all the stuff with us. I'm sorry, I was reading some of the comments also too. But yeah, we've been some crazy places over the years, and all this equipment, accompanies us, and that's why even my wife tells me, don't bring stuff into the house, whatever, that's something she cares about. But then they start seeing stuff, and is it something I brought in or something I just happen to bring out because of what I do? I don't know the answer all the way. And there's always something ever changing, because I was thinking, well, I moved, and obviously you moved a couple places, obviously.
Yeah.
And we know your previous place had some things going on. Some
No.
things. But same thing.
It's
with
just
my
random
house.
Footsteps up the stairs,
Right.
I have no idea.
We both witnessed. Some of it I wonder if it's following me here, location, or if it's
Well,
part of this place.
Okay, so let's be realistic on the idea of if we're interacting with something, say, even if we're talking to another dimension,
Sure.
if we're on the other side of the wall and we're talking and trying to communicate, and if they're at all able to hear us,
Right.
wouldn't they interact with just us? If they connect with us in a way and be like, okay, I understand what they're asking,
Mm-hmm.
so let's interact with them. You know, I mean, in that aspect, I mean, it could be anybody, but it could be just something wanting to interact with us.
Right.
I mean, the universe is so odd. I know I'm jumping all over the
No, you're
place
fine.
here, but okay, so I've been watching a lot of that, you know, how the universe works and all that stuff,
Right.
you know, and it's crazy, you know. But it's we're so tiny in this universe, and the fact that you know we're having all this experience on our planet,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just like we're just a
Spec.
yeah, we're a dust speck in the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
We're nothing.
Well.
I mean, literally. I mean, I mean, you saw the picture of the pale blue dot, right?
Yeah.
You've
Right.
seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's us. We're basically nothing when it comes to the rest of the galaxy. You know, the galaxy doesn't care about us unless there's something else out there that's intelligent wanting to communicate with us.
Right.
You know, from the wow signal. I don't know if you heard about that.
Tell us what it is.
The wow signal, it happened several years ago. There's a signal that SETI was listening to,
Mm-hmm.
and a signal came across where it registered higher than anything ever happened, and they were able to pinpoint kind of like where in the galaxy it was coming from, and they were just like, oh my god, this is like intelligent reaction to us.
Right.
Happened one time only. No way to figure out what was going on or what, but there was an actual signal pinging back to us.
Sure.
So what was it? We don't know.
Right.
Maybe it was finally somebody, you know, flew across and pinged us. Who knows?
Genius.
Yeah, who knows? But we are nothing. So therefore, we're trying to figure out everything on our planet, but yet we think everything that's written down in books and stuff like that is like the truth about everything.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Like I said, there's so much out there we haven't yet to discover. It's hard to say what's 100%
Yeah.
real and what's not. I mean, or what's uncovered. It was different. What do you call it? By the way, a different tripod. It was. I was trying to look behind the scenes. I almost forgot what I was looking for. I was just clicking away. I'll get it here real quick. Here pulled up. So what Jason's talking about is going back to our infamous Tahlequah location. We talked about it on other podcasts, but we talked about it on the She Squadron podcast. matter of
like the
fact.
tripods moving.
Yeah.
We even had it happen in Benton.
The
Remember that?
In Benton?
In Benton. It was the tripod that was outside looking toward the garage, inside a garage to the house. One of the camera started moving like something was bumping up against it too.
Oh, yeah. I know
Yeah.
what you meant outside.
Yeah, it was on the outside of the house. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is what Jason's referring to. Didn't want to like it. Pull it up. So what's significant about this picture is that down in Tahlequah, we told it on our podcast episode 97 about the whole experience. That one was dedicated to Tahlequah. Inside this is one of our more expensive cameras we had out facing the back of the house. It was from looking at the back of the house, because the story goes these brothers back in Tahlequah would see shadows outside the house, the newer house they lived in. Well, it's not new, but the one that still was standing. So we wanted to see if we captured anything. Looking in the windows, we had one inside in the room, one side outside the house, looking in. Well, it had been going since, I don't know, maybe 8 o'clock at night till about 2:30 in the morning, and we were out on the property like we always were by this bonfire, kind of in between like investigating. So our buddy Jeremiah and myself decided to make the trek up to the house to get something to drink, because there's nobody living in the house at the time. This is when the brother ended up passing away, went into hospice. So the house was empty, but there's a refrigerator, running water, all that stuff. So we went up there and kept our pops up there, and went inside to get something to drink, use the restroom. Jeremiah was, I think he went first and I went second, and I went inside to use the restroom, whatever, and then he came and got me. He's like, come here, come check this out. And I'm like, what? He's like, just look at this. I'm like, okay. He's like, camera's out. I'm like, which camera is that? I'm looking around. Oh, that's the one behind the house, pointing to the back corner of the outside looking in. He's like, okay, I'll go out and check it out. So I'm sitting there hanging out inside this, haunted house by myself. No biggie. But all of a sudden he comes back and he goes, dude, come look at this. I'm like, what? He goes, just come look at this. So I'm like, what? He was like, I'm not going to tell you, just come see. So I was like, all right. Go out the front of the house, go right the way to the back, look around, and our camera cord is cut. And I have a picture of that too. But this is the camera. That's why I took this picture, because I'm like, why is this picture here? Why is this camera just sitting here? And we were there, what time was it? It must have been probably 30 minutes before, or maybe an hour before this happened. This happened. We were there about 40 minutes to an hour later there in that place, getting that. That's when we discover it. But couldn't figure out why this camera was cut, and we had the footage of when it happens, and I'll show that too. But the thing is, it's just like, why is this happening when nobody's there? So this is the camera cord itself. I'm going to bring that up next so I can see. Got too much stuff in my way. So this is the actual cord after the fact, laying on the ground that was cut. It looked pretty, like a clean cut, like someone took a knife or something, or something.
Hatchet or something.
The thing is, this is all in footage, whatever. This is all in frame, of our camera, because this cord goes down the back side of it, down the tripod. It runs out in front of it towards the house, and this picture of this cord is probably a good, I don't know, 15 to 20 yards in front of it.
Yeah.
Where this thing got cut. I'm thinking, oh crap, did an animal cut it? But there's no like jagged serrated edges. It's just straight snipped. We never saw anything go up there. We had a recorder going. Our buddy Brendan had a recorder not too far, like by the house, on the back side. It never picked up any footsteps. On video, there's nothing being played or shown, whatever. It makes no freaking sense. With that being said, let me show you what happens on the actual footage. Get this picture up here. Now, granted, when I take this footage, I'm going to show you, it's from I'm reviewing the footage at home. It's from my cell phone to this actual footage. So, don't mind the, so I'm getting distracted. Sorry about the shakiness of my phone. Let me pull it up here. Keeps kicking me back to the front. That's why I'm having a hard time getting these pulled up fast. But I know where they're at now, so I can grab them real quick. Okay. So this is going to be the actual footage of that night when it happens. Maybe. The sound of hearing. And you got the house recording this. What's that tree in front? Like that. Whatever it is. See how it starts shaking? That's the moment it's getting cut. Like 206 is going to happen. So whatever was doing whatever to the cord in frame doesn't show up on camera ever.
And no sound.
And then when it goes black, that's when the camera is finally cut. Like I said, that's fine and all. The cord was cut, no biggie. It annoyed me, whatever. I was mad, but
right. But it made no sound too. Remember?
Well, yeah, there's no sound to it. And the thing that's so bizarre is there's a $200 camera plus a tripod sitting there. Why would you take that if it's a person doing this? It just always blew my mind. It's like, well, the story goes, like I said, they would see these shadows out there behind. That's why it's pointing to that back window. That's the window the brother slept in. The oldest brother ended up leaving the house because I'm going to hospice. Why is it? I don't understand. It's like, why would we purposely point something towards that window and then something doesn't want us to see whatever? The thing is, I'm thinking, okay, if it's human, we had cameras inside the house too. nothing picks up on camera. We had one in the main area, we had one in that back bedroom, we had all kinds of stuff focusing on this house, and it doesn't show up ever. It makes no, like I said, what kind of sense to me, anyways. I mean, it's always baffled me, but the camera's always. We saw that camera to this day. It's sitting right next to me in the closet with the tripods also there. It's just like, what the hell? I'm trying to think what else we had from that night. I have other things. It's just the other one. Actually, I think this might be the other one. Hang on real quick here.
Not to mention the other camera that went.
Yeah.
Started to move.
This is the other camera. I just found the other camera. I was going to say this.
Was it fairies?
You're a fairy. I'm just kidding. Shortly
Dick?
after this, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I apologize for my
No, but seriously, like, you know, would it be fairies out there? Do you think they actually interact? I mean, the Sheesh Watchers, like, just kind of, like, blew my mind when they were talking about everything. From fairies to little creatures and gnomes and all that stuff.
Right.
Not in the aspect that you think of from storybooks and stuff, but just like earthly creatures.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff we don't understand. We can't wrap our heads around.
We don't know.
Right.
Maybe they're helping them out by doing what they did to the cameras.
Right. What I want to know is, I kind of wish for life we would have had a camera facing that way.
I know.
We could have thought maybe even better what they were
We need a
trying to hide
camera,
from us.
then a camera facing that camera, and all different directions.
So, shortly after this, I thought it was at the exact same time. That happened about 2:06, 2:07 a.m. in the morning. At 2:18, a camera had to be probably from there, I would say, to that other location, probably 200 or 300 yards away. We had it facing down this long path because this is where the same path we're talking about. We walked down where we saw the Bigfoot stuff. Where out in the woods, the footprints, the shelters and all that stuff, the Blair Witch symbols. So we put a camera up there that night, facing that way. We also had Jason and them had brought
glow sticks and all
there you
that
go.
stuff. Yeah.
Up in the trees, try to attract something to it.
In theory, they said that they attract Bigfoot, or they seem interested in them, and we'll come mess with them.
And they were up in the trees, kind of higher up. I mean, but high enough that we did it. Our height.
Higher than what I could.
I didn't want to say that. I was thinking it. I'm kidding. So this is the other footage. The camera starts shaking out in the woods. I'm provoked, but it never gets cut. So did we startle it? I don't know.
I remember this footage from, we were out all inside finally looking at the cut footage when we noticed the camera was moving on the other, so we took off running.
Well, that's weird.
What was that?
Oh, there it goes. It wasn't playing. There it was.
Yeah, I saw that, and I took off running through the door and headed that way.
So it's those little glitches and things. Sometimes moving the camera out there. It didn't cut the wires.
I was so afraid it was happening, though. I was so afraid it was being, going to be taken or thrown to the ground, and
right.
I didn't want the money of the equipment being lost.
You and Brandon chased after.
Yeah.
What's out there? You guys were seeing this thing, so I think that's my own personal time frame was off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 20 minute span.
I ran as fast as I could out there to that area.
Right.
I still remember that.
Yeah, you ran out there, and then we had to make a determination. We were supposed to stay the night on the property that night. And so,
yeah.
What do? We're out here by ourselves because even the owners had to work that night. Usually he's out there with us, and he was like, I got to work overnight. He worked in town, and this is out in the middle of nowhere, and up in the mountains, mind you. There's only one road in to get in there, and it's like, do we stay here?
To this day, I hated I hated our decision.
Yeah, we ended up leaving about 3 or 4 in the morning. We talked about it quite a bit, and then driving back and got to Wichita about 9 or 10 the next morning. We were all just zombies, and we shouldn't have been driving because I had been up for like 36 hours before that or something crazy. Jeremiah was passing out. I ended up taking over and driving. I'm like, dude, let me drive because you're gonna kill us. But I want to show you also too. I found other footage in the same folder of things from
Oh,
Tahlequah. I want to
And Marla is heading to Arkansas.
Oh, nice.
I think to the boardwalk.
Camp.
Yeah,
Was it boardwalk? Board.
something like that.
I have it in my pocket. I should look.
Yeah,
but
to where
yeah.
Jake went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Camp Crystal Mine, whatever.
Yeah.
It's boardwalk or board, whatever it is.
Board
Sorry, I
Crystal.
should know
Yeah.
this. From Tahlequah. These are lights. I think these are lights. Hang on, look real quick here. Okay. Yeah. These are the photos. This is the video. We talked about the lights in the cemetery. This is Renee, Jason, and I out there. And just play it. It talks. You'll see the lights come up on frame, or not. Gotta click it. There you go.
Oh, I just saw what's in the corner. Hang on.
Right?
Back there. Yeah. What?
Ground is so smushed up. Certain areas. I mean, we're walking right on grade.
I know. I mean, no disrespect, you know.
No.
There's something back there. I will in a minute. You can't run from me. I see you. I see you back here. You can't run. What are you? I'm on falling something back here. Hey, what's that?
What? Whoa, where is that?
Did you see that?
Yeah.
There's a ball of light back in that corner. It just disappeared.
Oh, okay.
I saw a shadow right before that back in that corner. Come on, who's back there?
I'm gonna take and set this one on top of
I just
that.
saw a red dot back in that corner.
I saw one too, right
You
there.
see it? Let's see if there's anything back there. Oh shit.
Careful.
Grave. I'm so sorry. Give me a step on your grave. I apologize. Glad you saw what I saw.
Where did you see it?
Hold on. Did you hear that?
It was real faint under the wind.
Yeah, there's like a whew. Something. I saw it back here. Straight ahead. Of course, this is where I saw him before.
Yeah, the one I saw was.
There it is again right there.
I think that's.
I saw the red light again. Did you hear what it said?
Uh,
Oh, it is. I just saw the light. Whoa. Is that them walking up on us? Yeah, it is. Okay, I thought it was out in the field. What?
Alright, so that's the footage of just some of the footage. You can see now we're filming in full spectrum, so that's why it has that purple IR kind of a tint looking thing. Weird. I'm like glowing. My camera's not adjusting now. I'm see-through. There we go. Anyways, you see that those lights out there. And you can the thing I like about it. Now looking back, you can see some of the graves and headstones, those like iron-looking things, whatever, in the footage itself. I walked towards these things, whatever, and I don't know if you caught one. One flew right past me. I never noticed until later on. It like bounces right past me. And I don't know what it is. I mean, but like I said, the thing to pay attention to is when we're filming in full spectrum is purple hue, our lights, and you see these things show up in green and red in the footage itself. We saw orange ones at different times. We've seen white ones. We've seen
Yellow.
like the yellowish color. We've seen blue lights. I mean, just different colors of these things out there. And now what they what do they, what's the word? Signify is the word I'm trying to say. I don't know. We talked to She-Squatch, I've talked to other people about these. They possibly have different colored lights because of different things.
Like their
She-Squatch was
personality
the red
or
ones, the bad
attitude
ones.
or something.
Yeah, like the bad ones, the red ones, which we saw on camera. The green ones, I don't know. I mean, you can form your own opinions, but just the fact that we were able to capture it, and we were seeing with them with our own eyes. And the thing that I laugh about to this day is everybody saw them, and it was in our crew that was with us, Jason, to myself, Renee, Jeremiah, Brendan, to you name it. What's her name? Oh my God, I forgot her name. The girls, Paula. They saw 'em too.
Paul and Michelle.
Yeah, they saw him too. I'm sorry, Paul and Michelle. But the funny thing about it was, it makes me laugh. We're all seeing these lights, and we're like, oh yeah, I see him at different times. And then somebody would point that direction. I see him over there. Yeah, I see him over there. At the same time, we're seeing them different directions. It looked like Scooby Doo, where they're just kind of.
Well, we're being surrounded.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. Swamp gas. There's no swamps around there, though.
Yeah,
mean,
it
this
wasn't
is-
swamp gas.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and that's when, like I said, Casey, with the producer, was trying to tell us, maybe we'll just, because other than those footage, you don't have anything in camera other than just footage. And I don't know what he caught. He has the footage still. He said we'll just say they're whatever armadillos or whatever he said, hogs, whatever, feral hogs, or not feral hogs, but yeah, feral hogs.
But they're flying around us,
Right.
above our heads and everything else, and flying past us.
Yeah.
It's not flying pigs, basically,
Big fly,
So,
maybe?
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not that. It's not swamp gas. I mean, we were seeing this with our own eyes flying around us.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it was like glowing giant insects,
Mm-hmm.
but
they weren't lightning bugs.
I know they weren't.
Much as that people, I mean, I'm not saying, oops, hang on, I'm playing shit. Damn it. Sorry. Heat-seeking mosquitoes. Like I said, people that, we've tried to figure this out ourselves, and this is not the first time, the only time we've seen them. We've seen them every trip down there.
Right.
On the property, in the cemetery, everywhere. Like, just free-floating, and it's the things that even the brothers that lived on the property for years, they call them UFO lights. They see these things, like silver, blue, trying to show up on their property, and like, oh, there they are, and then they just fly
Yeah.
off again. Like, they'd hover 1 minute and fly off, and it's just like, what in the hell? But the fact that we witnessed them, caught them on camera, and not knowing at the time, because we were walking, and I had the camera in my hand, that's why I'm unframed, 'cause I'm just trying to... Oh, yeah, we know, Charles. But no, like I said, I've heard those over the years. Seriously, that swamp gas claim, not even just for our cases, for
Yeah.
cases across the U.S.,
Yeah.
down in like Louisiana, Florida, the Everglades, and you'll hear that about people saying swamp gas and stuff like that. And I mean, could it be? I don't know. There's no swamps around there, like I said, but it's
Well,
just-
swamp gas gives off a different, reflection in how it presents itself.
I've never been around it, so I wouldn't know.
Well,
I
just
mean,
from what
theory.
people have presented, on camera and stuff like that,
Exactly.
capturing it. It's like more like sparks and stuff like that. This is actually like flying through
It looks like
and around
yeah,
us
and, you can
and
see 'em.
stuff. Like we're actually being swarmed
Yeah.
the
They
whole
remind
time.
me
I
of-
remember that
They
night.
remind me of laser pointers, but the fact is there's no like laser trail, and none of us had lasers on us
Right.
at that time. We carry on cases, but you saw them in our picture. They're dots. They're not like one single beam. Yes, you can alter them, but I'm saying it would have to be one of us playing tricks on one of us. But the fact they're shooting all over and we see them free floating with our own eyes, that's the thing. It's not like
Yeah.
What, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, like in one of your earlier trailers that you made for the show,
Yeah.
it actually looked like
yeah.
it was fluttering, like it
Yeah.
was flying past you.
Right.
Because I remember your shirt. You got the back
thought
of
it
your
was
shirt, and
insects.
you're walking, and it was like yellow.
I said bugs. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You hear me saying, oh, you think bugs are flying everywhere?
Yeah, but it was yellow, and it was
Yeah.
just weird, and you can actually see like a fluttering to it.
Yeah, that's true. He said the Mothman was called swamp gas at one time. We'll play another video. I don't know. This is from the Tahquah also too. Let me see real quick here. Oh, okay. This is outside the house that we go to. That's dilapidated now. Unfortunately, it's caving in. It's not safe to be in there. But this is Jason and I outside the house, and we're trying to investigate. You'll see some things on camera and hear some things. I hope it translates. Want your headphones on?
Will do.
Sorry. Yes. All right, here we go.
You're gonna hear something, you're gonna hear a voice, something's gonna get thrown.
Oh, yeah. Of course it will. It's like,
Do you like toying with us? Is that why? Saw it again in the white mist. And I'm back by the door.
That was real quick. I can't remember what was on there. Man, we look so young in that footage, both of you and I. My beard is way shorter and whatnot. Yeah, I asked a question, do you like toying with us? Because we just go there and it's just, every time I go there, it's like like I said, leaves me with more questions than answers. And it's just like it wants to just mess with our minds and whatnot, follow us back to places, all of us, and do different things to us, affect us. And it answers me. I said, do you like toying with us? And you hear the thing answer me. I mean, it's like, I like toying with you. And it's different voices. It says something like, come find me or something like that. I don't know, man. Like I said, we're out in the middle of the woods and stuff, and just things like that, you know, it's just crazy. I don't know what to explain. I don't think I have anything else to show in the house. Just some of the stuff we've encountered. We got about 12 minutes left of the show, so I didn't know we were going to take this route, but some of the stuff we experienced, we've been lucky. Is it Bigfoot? Is it real? Is it some of those eyes shine we see? Is it orbs,
But,
fairies? I don't know.
You know, I mean, from the people we've
Yeah.
talked to and then the last, 3 guests we've had, it's kind of like helps open our eyes to different possibilities of what we're experiencing.
Right. And they're experiencing the same things. That's what's bizarre. I mean, different locations across.
You know.
The She Squatchers have been different locations across the U.S. The place that Josh heard we're talking about was down in Arkansas. Board
Yeah.
Camp is what it's called. Board Camp Crystal Mine.
Yeah, board camp.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember what it was. Which we need to go out there
But-
one of these days.
Yeah.
And we will.
But the thing is, like from Johnny's perspective, it may not be the same thing you're interacting with that you're told the stories of. You're interacting with something else that you're bringing closer to, or maybe you're bringing the energy to it and enhancing it.
Sure.
Who knows? Then you've got the She Squatchers that are talking about like all the lore that comes with Sasquatch and everything else, and the land itself. From little creatures to fairies to everything else. I mean, were we experiencing that?
Right.
I mean, it's crazy to think about. What in the world were we actually interacting with? Now, because now I'm kind of like confused. Like, I had something in my mind of what I was, interacting with, but now I'm like, I don't know. It changes, from everyone's personal experiences and from other research being done from other views. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. Yeah, I don't either. I can't make.
That's why I'm excited to get out in the field with the She Squatchers, and to be able to go investigate with Johnny Hauser and work with them and actually see how they're viewing things and working and stuff.
See things through their eyes. Things
Yeah.
We've experienced that we've never been able to determine what was real and what wasn't. Oh crap! I'm supposed to see that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Shit's crazy. It baffles me to this day, and I'm just like, whatever. I mean, I would like to know what we're experiencing. Is it real or not? I mean, like I said, every time we go to a place, we leave with more questions than answers. In some
Yeah.
locations, such as this place.
Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff to me. I love it. Give me a second. I got some stuff. I want to end on a funny note. One second
But
here.
can I do some announcements real quick?
Go ahead.
All right. So April 17th, we still have Road Trip Paranormal is investigating the Hotel Josephine with Ghost Tours of Kansas. I think there's still a little bit of tickets left. We're going to be doing our first investigation there, and helping the hotel build their history of paranormal activity there for it. So looking forward to that. For Bigfoot in Kansas, I'm going to be heading out to a different location here soon, to an area that I remember Brendan and I were actually tracking footprints for a good 2 or 3 hours at this location before it disappeared. Like, the footprints just stopped, and we couldn't figure out why, but they were barefoot and they were, had toes and everything. So so that's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get back out there and do that. And also for Road Trip Paranormal and Ghost Stories of Kansas again, we got another location that we're going to be excited to announce soon. Brand new location that we've never been to again. So I'm kind of excited about doing all these new locations. We're going to be setting that up and announcing tickets and all that for sales coming up soon. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's going to be coming soon. I'm excited. I know the team knows. I've talked to them about it a little bit, but it's a location that I'm very, very excited about here in Kansas. So, all right, all yours now.
No, just want to have some fun as we end on an interesting night. I mean, thanks to everybody tuning in tonight. We had a good time, and we'll get some more guests on the show. It was kind of hard to book a guest this evening because of Easter weekend and stuff like that. And we had some people in the woodworks that you definitely want to tune in for. I won't give names yet because there's some fun people and some big time people coming in. So stay tuned. But no, since we're talking about today was Easter and everything like that, I found some fun stuff. Things popped up on my timeline. I thought, why not? So these are just some fun Easter pictures that I found over the.
Oh God, I can just imagine.
Take a look at some of these; they're hilarious. So this
Or
first
scary as hell.
one, yeah, that's why I want to post them because they crack me up. Imagine being these kids in these photos over
Jesus.
the years, having to go with Easter bunnies. So this first one, I just call them Red Eyes. I mean, he's a looker. Not
What?
so scary, but still. I mean,
What
kinda,
the hell?
Kind of terrifying. So happy Easter to you and your kids.
I mean, that's just like terrifying, just like looking at it. And it's like,
Right.
I feel like it's actually over to my right and just like, get away, get away.
Right. This next one's fun too. This poor baby. It's just I don't know. It reminds me of some of the horror movies you see out and people wearing masks and just different things. It's kind of funny.
Dear Lord. Where do people get these costumes at,
It's a great question, sir. A great question.
Bunnies are not, like, meant to be for cute and funny. That kid just looks, like...
Help me, Mom. There's another one right here coming up right here. Imagine being... This kid's taking it pretty well, actually. I'm surprised. But those freaking eyes is like, hello. Made me laugh when I saw it. I was like, okay.
They look like costumes for a cult. You know that?
Exactly, or a serial killer.
Yeah, that too.
Which, going on that one, I call this next one Gacy.
Oh,
in
Jesus.
honor of Mr. Gacy himself, the serial killer. The one on the right looks like his costume they used to wear to children's. You'll see it here in a second here. It's delayed. But it reminds me of
Oh, God.
the Gacy costume he'd wear as clown. Pogo the Clown, as I'm talking about.
I mean the one with the yellow eyes?
Yeah.
God.
Remind me of. But the one in the middle is not too cute either himself.
Whoever designed them should be, like, fired,
Why?
They're horrible. They're horrible.
Oh, they get better. Trust me. There's plenty more here. A couple more here.
He's got, like, a mustache. Are those supposed to be whiskers? That looks like a mustache. Hitler style. Yellow eyes.
Oh, I missed the kid in the. I need to.
But the one in the middle, Jesus.
I missed the kid. There's a kid
What?
crying. The baby crying on the one with the brown
God.
face. I missed the other kid crying too.
That looks like
There you go.
Alien Bunny.
Look at that one.
Look at those alien eyes. That's like the alien gray eyes, And just smiling, just like the grays,
Yep.
The
The one on the left looks evil.
God.
I missed a kid crying in the middle on the right arm of that middle bunny.
They're all crying except for the one being,
The one on the right doesn't know better, I don't think.
Well, the girl in the pink coat, she's just like in a trance, like, being mesmerized by the,
just
drugged
here for
up by the alien bunny
I'm
there.
just here for the candy.
Yeah,
While I'm here.
basically.
There's another one too. This cracked me up. This reminds me of, if anybody knows the DJ Marshmallow, the one with the big hats, reminds me of the one on the, coming up here on the right. Speaking of alien bunnies, you'll see it here. There you go.
What
It
the?
reminds me of Marshmallow, doesn't it? Because his big square head and the dark markings on the face.
Okay, but look at the kid too.
The kid's like terrified out of his wits.
The kid looks like a doll too, you know? That whole picture's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Oh man, we got a couple more.
And they
here.
put hair on the marshmallow
The
head.
marshmallow head.
There's
Marshmallow
hair,
bunny.
there's
Oh, what is
fuzz on the top.
that? Oh, there's some other ones. I got about 3 or 4 more here, and then we're almost done to wrap the show up. So I thought we'd end on a fun note. All right. This next one here is
It's just wrong.
this poor kid. This next one looks like a cat almost. Wait till you see his face.
Jeez, what the frick? I'd be crying too if I was that kid.
Hey kids, let's go see the Easter Bunny. That way he may haunt your dreams. Rest of your-
Who thought that was like the right idea right there, you know?
Right. Franken Bunny. That's awesome.
That's like freaking
The one on the right. Oh, good job.
Werebunny there, you know, with the werewolf style, like fangs and all that.
Just a couple more here, and then this one coming up here, I was laughing at. I was like, man, talk about pedophile. Possibly, maybe it may be relations, but it's like, make sure you hide your kids.
No, that's pedophile right there. No.
Stink.
Yeah, that's pedophile right there. I mean, there's actually no excuse for that right there.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then my last two.
That's not even well done either. It's
And then my last 2 favorites, I'll get them up here just a second. 1 second, I'm getting them queued up here.
I mean, he looks like he doesn't even want to be in the picture either.
The last 2 here is the man himself.
Is that?
It's Ozzy, man.
That's who I thought it was.
It's Ozzy Bunny. Come on. Can't go wrong with Ozzy Osbourne, man.
At least he's biting the basket, not a bat, right?
Right. It's fun, right? Ozzy.
Wow.
Ozzy Bunny.
That's. I've
Just
never
keeping
seen that before. That's crazy.
Oh my God, too funny. Well, just wanted to say, like I said, happy Easter, everybody. Those that tuned in this evening with us. Figure, why not? Let's keep with tradition here. Let's get some Easter pictures going up here. So. Oh
Wow.
My God, too fun. Too much fun.
Wow.
That's what we do on the show. We have fun. We also try to tell the stories that we experience. Also, to have guests come on and tell their stories, and just have some fun, guys. This is what we're about. We want to be informative, but also, like I said, let you know what we had happened to us too along the way. So, but we'll be back next week with an all brand new episode of Cryptic Heartland Podcast. This has been episode number 135 with Jason and Leo here. And,
Absolutely.
Yep. We'll come back with some more fun stuff to talk about next week, and you never know who may be popping up. So stay tuned.
You bet.
We try to make announcements on the Facebook pages if we have a guest, but you never know. Sometimes some people might just sneak in. You never know. So. No, but in all seriousness, guys, thank you guys for tuning in this evening. We'll be back next week at the same time, 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time with an all-new episode of Cryptic Heartland Podcast. Happy Easter, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
All right, take care,
All right.
guys.
All right, bye.